Just
I got another
Time for
book.
a new book?
I've already got one.
there you go.
Right, ready to go. Thank you, Sharon. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday, 6 April 2023, and this is a special meeting of the Waterville Valley Select Board. I'm the chair, Rich Rita, and here today also is Bob Freeze, the vice chair, and Wendy Rathgeber, who is also a select board member. So we have a quorum. And I don't see it on the schedule, but I don't see a privilege of the floor. Is anyone? Nobody here for that, just the staff. All right, so let's move to our very first, the wastewater treatment facility update.
Yep, so good news, last week, we had a review with the folks who do the funding for the Clean Water SRF regarding our project. I think we had mentioned before that we're going to be doing an application for the next round of funding. And so we were checking in to find out exactly what was going to be required on the application. As part of that conversation, we were told that we are not doing a $7 million application. We are doing a $37 million application. So that we do not have to do any further pre-applications or any further paperwork for funding. This will take care of us for the rest of the project period. They're going to do the 7 million that they had identified us for. And then they're going to create a reserve for us in the state revolving fund. And as we continue to need additional funding, it'll be available to us. We won't have to do pre-apps and applications in 24, 25, or 26.
So the first one's gonna be a $7 million chunk.
The first one, we're already set with the 7 million that's available right now, but the 30 million remaining is going to be set up as a reserve. So there won't be an application process. And all of it will be at the 15% loan forgiveness rate.
Good.
Okay.
So
each year we'll just find
each year we'll just, as we go through projects, have contracts, we'll submit the contracts. Did I miss anything, Steve? You were on the call.
It might be, known, but it's up to the 30.
Yeah, it's up to,
So
right.
as we get all those lovely grants in.
It reduces. It could-
It
reduces.
reduces. We don't have to use it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not on the hook for
Right.
all of it. Only what we need.
Great. So
Okay,
for the
so that was huge because if we had to do an application beyond the 7 million, every time we came up, the interest rate could change, the funding percentage that we were eligible could change.
So this locks in the interest.
And then track this. Yes, they will lock it in at the rate when governor and council meet next month, I think May. I think she said it was either May or June when they will approve the 7 million, but whatever that interest rate is, we're locked in.
If the interest rate goes down, would that? go down?
I don't know how that works, but I'm not anticipating that that'll happen.
I don't either, but
So-
Currently now we're thinking 3 something.
2.563 is the current rate. We're thinking probably around 2.7, 2.8. I mean, she didn't know
Yeah.
the number, but I would anticipate that it would go up a little bit. Something between our current rate and 3, I think, is realistic.
Mhm.
So it's very good. We were worried that like we had mentioned before, I think
Mhm.
when we got to 2026,
Right.
we would still be in the midst of construction. So what would we do with the additional 5 or 10 million, whatever we needed?
Is there any
So-
time limit on like the $7 million chunk? Do we have to spend that within?
So it's gonna be, they're looking
apply
at a
toward the
completion date of October 2nd, 2026.
Okay.
So all of this is good through that date.
So does this have an impact on the bottom line cost? That we could,
I think that's still too
Estimate.
variable because of the grants and the congressionally directed spending that we've applied for and all of
Mhm.
that. No, I don't know what that is yet. Plus, depending on what happens with the sewer line and
right,
everything.
so those conditions that we outlined at town meeting pretty much hold as far
They're
as.
pretty much holding, yep,
The project costs as we
Yeah.
can see at this time. This is
Yeah.
just the funding within. And this is a good,
But if the whole
Wait,
37 million is subject to the 15%, then you're talking
Yeah.
about $5 million
that's
off.
$5 million.
yeah,
That's not including the first 800,000.
Right, that
From the
doesn't.
5 million
Yeah,
earlier.
that doesn't
Or the 4
count
million
any
earlier.
of the additional monies or the monies that we've already received.
so I just want to make sure people aren't hearing that. It's like the one was built here where the government feds, I think, picked up 95%. We're not,
No.
this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the funding within the overall cost. And how it's likely going to lessen the cost, but it's hard to determine.
It's hard to determine right now, the exact
Exactly.
amount that.
That in the end, that the taxpayers will be paying for the facility, but it will certainly lessen the costs as well for going forward after the construction because of the loan rate
Correct,
we'll be getting to
Yep.
repay the.
Yep.
Repay the
be
loan.
much less even than the bond bank.
So is it the state or the feds that absorbed that $5 million?
The state,
The state?
yeah,
Mhm. They get it from the
it's a
Fed.
combination of state and federal monies. Some of it comes
Right.
directly from the state budget and some of it
Right.
comes from infrastructure money from the feds that we get every year. The state of New Hampshire gets every year.
And speaking of the feds, we haven't heard anything back yet on the.
Nothing on the
earmarks,
CDS
On the CDS, excuse me, get the
or
technical term.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The free money from
Oh,
Washington.
yes, no free money.
No, we all give them the money, then
We don't
they,
give them
then they decide how
It's
much
just
of our
giving us
money they want to give back,
back.
right?
That's correct.
I
Yeah.
understand that game. All right, state funding status, any other questions, folks? All right,
On the engineering, Dylan and Richard and I had a meeting with the engineers yesterday. Do you want to kind of go through that, Dylan?
Tertiary aspects.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
really the main part of it.
Yep.
So in the meeting yesterday, they identified that one of the main technologies we were looking at doesn't seem to be viable. Seemed like probably 40 to 50% of the wastewater applications it was used in were having serious issues with it. That was one of our initial concerns with it, with the drinking water technology. But because our permit's so strict, that's what we're basically limited to now is technologies that are used in drinking water for turbidity removal and essentially just clarity, if you will. So with that being said, we're going to be going down the road of doing a pilot at the Quechee, Vermont facility. We have a call next week, I believe, with the state
Monday or
Monday or
Tuesday.
Tuesday to discuss that further. There's a equipment manufacturer that is already in the game with a type of technology like this, but they need the technology that they're going to pilot is a 1 micron filter, so it's super small. And what we're going to do is see what type of results that they get off of it in Quechee, because Quechee is going to be almost a sister facility to what this facility would look like. Stevenson battery reactor facility, relatively the same amount of flow. So that will give us some pretty good information. The only issue is if that doesn't pan out, we're gonna be back to the drawing board again on where we can go. And what we discussed in that meeting was essentially looking at what we have for types of technology in the existing facility, just, modern day.
Updating it.
Exactly, modern day technologies of what's already there, because that seemed to work for quite a while in the spent solids end. Aside from that, it was relatively good. We're still looking at April 20th for review. April 20th, we're supposed to have a review of the 90% report.
And that would be with you and the state
Correct.
and the engineering team. Our utilizing our current technology of the existing plant and just getting all new equipment. That's really, it's kind of been an option for us, but we haven't been pursuing it because we wanted one of these two tertiary new technologies to be what we put on the new plant.
The main reason for that is because the engineers, there's nothing wrong with it either. They
Right.
want to get a guarantee from the manufacturer.
Right.
Which no one will give us.
Which no one will give
So,
us.
so that's the same boat that we're in now.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get a guarantee either with what we have there. Present day or in the future, because what would happen is it's gonna be. You know, each piece of equipment will do X amount of removal, but none of them are gonna do. That one program per liter. As a definite. It's just gonna be a culmination of the different types of equipment to get it down to that level. So it's gonna be tough to try to find a manufacturer, because there's gonna be 3 different types of manufacturers most likely. Of all 3 different, so reactor clarifiers, fluid media filters, and carbon adsorption vessels.
And they're all gonna have the certified.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be facing the same battle
Mhm.
that we're dealing with right now.
Hmm.
And that's what's holding us up from getting to the 90% design point. So,
So. I understand, right? So we're potentially gonna use the same technology we've been using.
For the suspended solids portion, yes.
only if the technology that we pilot at Kichi doesn't work.
Okay.
So again, it's a fallback. But we had this really high level, brand new technology that's used in drinking water, right? And we were going to attach that onto the plant.
Right.
That we found, I think the engineers found 8 or 9 applications where that's being done around the country, Colorado, California. I forget the other states, but there were 8 of them on the list.
Mhm.
Every one of those 8 were having some sort of issue. So we said,
Some
take it
of them
off
catastrophic
the list,
impact.
catastrophic failures, that kind of thing. So we don't even want to pursue that any further.
Is there any hope of going to EPA, not as seeking relief, but to see if they'd be willing to help us pilot something since it's not working in these other plants? I mean,
So yes,
Okay.
yes, the short answer to that is yes. So number one, we're gonna pilot this technology with Kichi. It's a very close plant, 2 hours. If it works there, we're
Is that what you said?
Koichi,
Koichi.
Vermont, yeah.
Yeah.
If it works there, we're 99% certain it'll work here. It's the same environment. They're discharging to a small mountain river. Elevations are the same, weather,
Municipal
everything. So
wastewater.
municipal wastewater, just like ours, no real industrial waste or anything. So very similar to us.
But how
Now-
long will we have to see it running?
Okay, so that's the question on Monday or Tuesday that's the main question for DES. What we're gonna ask them to do is take the pieces of the plant design that we know are going to happen,
Mhm.
the headworks, the
just approve all that, right?
SBRs, all the rest of it, dewatering, all of that. And we're gonna ask them to start final design on those pieces.
Mhm.
We think that it'll take anywhere from 4 to 6 months to do the pilot at Koichi.
No, that was 4 weeks.
The actual piloting is 4 weeks,
Right.
but by the time
Well,
the
all the
reports get
applications,
written and applications get put in and all that, it's probably 4 to 6 months process. But if we can be final designing other pieces of the plant while we're doing it, we won't get behind. Normally, the state says you gotta have all your piloting done. You've gotta have your 90% plan completed and approved before you can start final design. If they stick with that standard, then we've already decided that we're gonna go to EPA and request an extension. Because there's not any way that we can just sit here for 6 months while the pilot program goes on and we get a decision from DES
Right.
if we're not already in final design
Right,
of some
Right, we'll lose-
portion of the plan.
practically a whole year.
Yeah, we've already lost 4 months
The only
getting
good
here.
thing I think about
Right.
this is. We'll know relatively quickly if it's going to fail.
Right.
If it shows promise, if it shows promise in the beginning, it's worth pursuing, but if it. Shows, all sorts of failures from the get-go. Then we're just-
We can just stop.
So you think we'll know that before a final report comes out in 6 months, in the 4 to 6 week period, we might know that?
I would say within the first week or so of the actual
Yeah.
pilot. It's-
And what does this system consist of?
It's basically a cloth media disc. So what it does, it's 1 micron filter size, so, microscopic almost. And it's basically just a big welded steel tank that has there's a ballasting area. So basically what it does, it has a coagulation area before the filtration. So it coagulates to so total suspended solid, bind, thicken that up. Then it forces it through cloth media discs. So that will filter it out. It's essentially just,
A strainer,
yeah, if you
Yeah.
will.
a cloth strainer.
Very expensive, but that's the idea behind it. It works well in other applications for phosphorus removal and suspended solid, but nobody has that TSS limit that we do. So that's what we're anticipating. Hopefully we get some good information off of it and can move forward with that. But if not, we have 50 years of data over there that shows us that we can do less than a 1 TSS with that.
With our current system.
So
So we would replicate, if this new technology doesn't work, we'll replicate the existing plant, build it new inside the new plant, and go forward. They won't make us pilot that because we've been doing it for 50 years.
This is
So-
the final stage, the.
Tertiary.
The tertiary treatment, the
Yeah.
final
Yeah.
treatment.
So. One of the reasons we're doing this is because of the new EPA standards. So if we're using the technology that. We've been using, if we end up using that, does that raise the question of whether we should rehabilitate this plant versus. Switch to it?
that's only the tertiary process, so. So the reason why we're building a new facility is the ammonia removal aspect of it. We can't do that with our current facility. So it would just be, I'm not.
The SBR piece,
Right.
replacing the lagoons and the role that plays. We are only taking half of the plant and rebuilding it. So it, simply refurbishing what we have is not
We'll meet other
something,
standards.
won't meet the other standards.
Okay,
The other side of that, Bob, is that we had looked into that to see what refurbishing costs would be. And because of where it's located, it would be essentially gutting the entire facility from the inside out and putting brand new in. There's nothing that we can do to refurbish, maybe the structure of the building, but everything else that's in there besides the dual media filters is basically junk. The steel tank for the carbon vessels are junk. The carbon in them are good. We only have 1 vessel that we can use right now. So the ammonia removal tanks are on their last leg. We've been trying to find a solution to those. So it's, what it comes down to basically is, say it's, and I'm just pulling numbers out of thin air, but say it's 3 million for already tertiary technology, it might be 3.5 for new. And that's not including anything else. You still got a building that's not set up for, and you can't integrate that into the new facility.
Okay.
So,
And we'd have to do something with the lagoons. I mean, they're,
yeah, well, we have to get rid of them either way,
Yeah.
because we still need to have something that gives us a surefire way to meet our ammonia permit.
what kind of a plant does Queechee have?
SBR.
SBR, same thing as
The
we're,
plant we saw in Wakefield is
Yeah.
very similar to that.
Is that one that our engineers did, the Queechee?
So
she worked on it, but
One of
the
them,
company didn't, but one of our engineers,
We're
Helped work.
working for somebody else. at the
Yes.
time.
yeah.
Aldrich and Elliott, I think.
Aldrich and Elliott or something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're very familiar with the plant and the people who run it. And again, it's not a preferred method to rebuild what we have. We don't want to do that.
I just wanted to ask the
But if
question,
we,
you know.
no, but
It's
it
'cause we've
is,
gone full
it's only
circle.
a full,
Right.
no, I know, and that's.
The
we
reason we're
don't
doing it is
forgive-
because we met all these standards, so that's why they won't lessen the standard.
Well, and remember, if we
Yeah.
do that, we're accepting, because nobody's gonna certify
Yes.
the
Right.
carbon vessels or anything that we put in there. We're gonna have to accept the responsibility, because remember, the town came up with the testing to prove that we're meeting the less than 1 TSS. So it's all gonna fall back on us, so it's not a preferred way to do it.
One of the things that we're going to step with the state as well is to make sure that because of that, because there's not gonna be a guarantee from the manufacturer, that we won't have issues with state funding.
Right.
If we will, then we're not gonna even pursue that.
That's right. We wouldn't even
So,
pursue it. So.
Okay.
We're continuing to try to find a way around it. But the state is saying that they're also looking at this, because we are running into nobody being willing to sign off on it.
Yeah.
So they're continuing to look at other alternatives. But right now, the EPA is not moving off.
Classic catch 22.
It is, it's a very difficult situation.
Especially hearing these other plants to try some of this media for tertiary. This,
Yeah, but they're not meeting,
yeah.
they're not even meeting one,
Right.
they're meeting something
Five.
and they're still not
Five
being,
or
and
something.
they're still
They're
not
still
not
not
able to do
able
it.
to do it. So
We'll be at the cutting edge of something. I don't know what.
I don't know what yet.
But
Something
little
on
Waterville
Mars
Valley, New
or-
Hampshire.
I see up
Right.
to Mars or something.
All right.
I think last time we opened a plan here, Governor Thompson
Yeah, Frank,
had a
well,
glass of water.
we're counting on you, Bob.
Well, no, we'll have the governor come, I think.
Governor.
We'll have the governor, if he's still governor. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. All right. Anything else? So we're expecting the 90% engineering
April
review
Couple weeks.
in a couple of weeks. So we'll have to lay on a meeting sometime next week,
Yeah,
after
we'll
next week.
hopefully talk
We'll
about
figure
it
out that next,
week.
at our meeting next week.
I think
Okay.
they're shooting for April 20th, which is
Yeah.
Thursday.
All right, next.
Septic system design, other good news, we've met with the mountain and contractor and a septic system, commercial septic system engineer. The engineer owes us a proposal for the design work. The plan would be, we need to get a 60, and it's the industry standard, I don't know why they choose it, but 60% design of the septic system would then, if gets approved by the state, and then we would take that to the Forest Service and say, this is where we want to locate it, this is what we want to build, and go through some sort of approval process with the Forest Service for the septic system.
Is the expectation that can be done this summer?
The design work can be done this summer, construction would be next year. So we're gonna approach it two ways. Depending on the location, if they can locate it within the confines of the parking lots up there, we would request it to be a maintenance job. Because the parking lots already have a special use permit. If it has to be in an area that's, not in the special use permit for, to be cleared and everything, then we would apply for a special use permit through the small projects process next March. But we would already have kind of the nod from the Forest Service that we support this.
Should
Project.
we for the public, just
Yeah.
to talk about what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking as well.
Yeah, so we're
Mhm.
talking about in lieu of rebuilding the 2 miles of sewer line from our plant up to the ski resort. Installing instead a commercial grade septic system.
So instead
there.
of the estimate of $5 million to do the line from the mountain,
It'll be something
It'd be
much less
something
than that,
something more in the
million range.
million two range.
Yep,
And the issue in front of us is that the town would take over this project
right,
and build it. And we would save millions of dollars
Correct.
doing it.
And then.
But there is some upfront cost to this.
that's right.
And then we wouldn't own it after that.
We wouldn't own it out. That would be.
No maintenance.
You lose the maintenance cost.
We would lose the maintenance costs going forward, because if we spent the estimated 5 million to install the line. We then have to maintain
It's our
that
line.
line, it's our
It's our
line,
line.
so.
Wendy, you had a question, comment?
No, just to clarify, so after they do the 60% design, it goes to the state before it goes to the forest?
Well,
Service?
the state would be involved because they would have to approve the septic system.
Right,
That's a normal part of the
It's just-
waste management.
It's just a
division.
sanitation thing. They wanna make
Sanitation.
sure They're not gonna install something that would fail.
Yeah.
And they, have a failed septic system with 6,000 people up there or something.
Yeah.
well, yeah.
So who's the engineering firm now?
Hess Engineering.
Yes.
Yeah, they work with Presby Environmental.
They do, okay.
So,
Presby would provide the materials and Hess would do the design work.
so a key question here, maybe the key question is how comfortable do we feel that this Forest Service is going to approve something before we even spend a
So,
dollar going down this
okay,
path?
so the sewer line design went to the small projects day in March
Mhm.
and was approved for the design phase. As part of that discussion, it was the preliminary discussion at the Forest Service level happened about the septic system.
Mhm.
And they said,
In place.
propose
of-
something.
right.
And we will consider it. There are other ski areas in the White Mountain National Forest that use septic systems. There was no hard upfront.
And they're not
no.
gonna give us a commitment. I think
And
we
they're not gonna
understand
give us
that,
a
right.
commitment, but they did not say, no, you must do the sewer line.
Okay.
So they're letting us look at other options.
So what's the path forward here with
The
regard to
path
the ski
forward
resort
would
and
be,
expenditures?
hopefully I'll have the project proposal from Hess by the 12th. I would be looking for you to approve that proposal. We'll sign a contract with Hess. They'll start the design work.
And this
we'll get
money
the
will come
60.
out of the,
The money will
for
come
the
out of the
waste-
town's non-reimbursable portion
of the wastewater
of the
treatment.
wastewater
facility
treatment
funds.
facility funds.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And that's the risk we take, that we could
The risk is the design.
design
cost
whatever it
of
is,
the-
20, 25.
I really don't know how much
Okay.
it's gonna be. There's surveying involved and there's the design
Right.
engineering.
And the Forest Service can at the end say,
The Forest Service at the end can look at it and say, well, you can build it, but build it over here.
okay,
Or, they may make us do changes, or they may say, yeah, okay, we'll
right,
let you
which is,
finish the
which
design.
is the hope.
That's the whole.
How about an agreement with the ski resort?
The
I mean, a
agreement-
formal agreement with the ski resort on moving
well,
towards
we-
funding I mean, we would fund, but going on their property.
Yeah, I think from the Forest
Surveying and
Service,
engineering it.
from the
Yeah.
resort standpoint, we have an existing agreement from 1988, and the town has a special use permit for the sewer line. So that's what we're currently working on.
I see, so we're
If we can
operating
make
under
it-
that.
If we can make it less than that, then
Right.
and it meets all of the resorts, that's why the resort participated in the meeting, is to give us the flows and. They're gonna have to say, yeah, we
Right,
We
obviously.
think
they
that that's
don't
gonna
have to.
work. It's gonna be happening hopefully
Right,
within
and that the
their
parking lot is fine with.
parking
them.
lot or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
give them an opportunity to do something about
That's right.
the parking lot,
Or whatever.
which is what
Sure.
I think they've been planning that.
Well, they've been
Sometime.
planning a parking lot project for a while, Tim said.
So
right?
that maybe they may roll this into,
Maybe, I don't
potentially.
know. Yeah. So,
One of the initial concepts was to build it under a parking lot. And then have, build a parking lot over the top of it so that they don't lose any park.
yeah,
Yeah.
they don't lose any parking.
That's
It's
how it was
already a
previously.
disturbed,
Yeah.
yeah,
it's already a disturbed area, so from a forest. National forest standpoint, it should be easier to permit. We wouldn't hopefully
Yeah.
have to go
It-
through an
it'd be
environmental
less than
study.
putting a new line. in terms of
Exactly.
Disturbing.
Tree.
No, you wouldn't even have to cut a
Right,
tree
it's
down.
just-
hopefully.
Question of whether they'd allow a septic versus a sewer line.
Yeah.
Whether they're happy enough
Right.
with the septic and the impact
And-
that has.
And initially, they have verbally said, we will consider. that."
Okay, I guess we'll have to take that
That's
as,
all we have.
that's all we have, right? So
As far as we know, that gets approved at the local level.
Yes. Yes.
any other questions on this? Or what do you need from the board at this point, Mike?
At this point, I just wanted to give you all that background, so we weren't in a really long meeting and have to go through all that. So hopefully on the
Right.
12th, I will have a proposal from Hess
Okay.
Engineering for your consideration.
And I think if I'm reading the sense of the board that we do want to go down this path at this point, at least see what Hess says.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Shall we move on to item 3, the transfer station project update?
Yep. We are waiting for the environmental review. It's been submitted to the state. So we are talking to different contractors. We have a set of plans here at Town Hall. We're not going to distribute those, but people are welcome to come in and look at them. We have an existing conditions sheet and did I go over with you the new design information changes?
I think you did.
No, the one. that we
Well,
got-
I
we-
got that original, but it's changed a little.
I had trouble on the
The stuff you sent,
email telling what the changes were.
actually, you're right.
Well-
That was a bit,
Yeah. and
I was getting lost
People
in
won't
it.
be able to see this, but basically we've changed the traffic flow. There was a center road here.
Right.
Right,
So now it's just a circle,
okay,
and the dumpsters, instead of being in an L, are just a single line.
like now.
Like now, yep. And we have a covered concrete pads here for materials, drop-offs, tires and batteries.
The
and
industrial
The industrial.
recycling,
Well.
not
commercial.
industrial, commercial recycling.
And then there's another concrete pad over here that has the metals dumpster. And this isn't covered, I'm sorry, this is covered, this isn't. Because some material has to be undercover, some can be in the open. So we have an open area and a covered area. And then we kept the dumpster, just made some alignment changes with the construction debris dumpsters so that it was easier to service on a regular basis. And then whether it's a burn pile or a chip pile and compost area is off on this side. So people will come in. The attendance shed is here. It has windows on these sides so that she can see down this way. Come in, make sure that they've got their permit to use the facility. Come in, residents can dump here. Commercials can keep going around and drop off wherever they need to, and everybody comes back.
So
up.
she'll make an evaluation as to how much somebody's gonna pay.
Yes,
at
when
the-
they're
at the-
here.
At the entrance.
Yeah,
point.
set
Check
the
their,
entrance.
potentially what
Yeah.
their stickers or
Yeah,
however.
or
we-
she may be walking in
Right.
the area.
There a gate there, Mark, or?
There's gonna be a gate,
Right.
there's gonna be a gate right here.
Just a stop sign at the attendance booth.
At the stop sign up here, I think we have a keep right and we have a stop sign,
Right.
stop area.
She or he will have to look at.
Correct.
Whatever,
The sticker. or
Residency.
whatever we-
I'm wondering
Whatever
if you need a 2 lanes in front of her. Because
We talked about
if
that.
she's evaluating somebody's stuff, it might hold up
Yeah.
all the household stuff going
What
around.
we'll do, I mean, all of this area is paved, right? It's either concrete or it's paved, the whole thing. These are just lines
Mhm.
on the pavement. So we can set up the second lane. And, you know, we'll continue to look at this as we build it, but it's easy to move a line and
I bet you
and
we get a lot of out of town trash right now.
Absolutely.
I bet you we cut down 10% on
Well,
that trash.
there, just go to the condos instead.
Yeah, there,
Now,
yeah.
what else is happening in the middle of the?
he knows how it works.
condos or the commercial.
Well, it's so convenient now. If somebody's going to the mountain, they
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
swing in and
Sure.
But what else is in the middle there? So you have like the dumpsters.
This is an open area. There's gonna be the swap shed.
Mhm.
This red shed here will
Yeah.
be a new shed. We're gonna get rid of these.
Right.
So there'll be a new one here and there'll be a new storage shed up here.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's open. It has drainage, catch basins.
Okay.
But it's open because of winter maintenance so that we can plow it.
And
So
the
the
truck
red-
goes in there, right?
the red shed could, it looks like there's enough room to expand that to a bigger shed
It
if
can be
we
bigger
start to
if we
follow the
want.
Rick.
Yeah, the
Yep.
dairy, was it dairy? No, Durham,
Durham.
the Durham system where.
And
yeah.
and the one I was at over in Maine was like even egg cartons were in a different place. I mean, everything was.
So this is just a pole barn at this point.
Mhm.
Just a covered space to
Mhm.
meet the regs for the state. So this can be eventually enclosed if we want it to be different recycling materials that we have to protect. But that's down the road once we get this working.
Mhm.
We're gonna have enough change. the
Right,
first
and then we can
build.
start looking at.
Then we can start making
uh,
modifications.
I mean, in terms of bottles or
Yeah,
aluminum.
bottles, aluminum
aluminum
cans,
cans
whatever
or-
we want. Yeah. Okay, but this area is just gonna be, the concrete pads are gonna be the key here.
Mhm.
Give us a space.
And you said
to work.
burn or chip, but we are just chipping, right?
Well, right now, we have it in as a burn pile. Like we currently have. Right now, we're burning.
Right.
I don't know if we're gonna be allowed to continue to burn or if they're gonna make us chip brush.
Yeah, I thought we were getting it.
We-
I thought there was a chipper already
Well,
coming.
they're
or
very
part of it.
expensive.
Sure.
So we're gonna look at this and evaluate which process we're gonna use.
Hmm.
So
So if we do a
What
chipper,
do-
then we can do something with the,
Exactly.
then we can do something with the
Either-
chips,
Yeah.
give it to the residents or
whatever,
whatever.
and so on.
So when are we allowed to put it out to bid?
As soon as the environmental review comes back from the state,
Soon.
4 weeks, I think,
So end of May,
3 or 4 weeks, I think is the
so
timing.
sometime in May, early, late
Sometime in
May,
Mhm.
mid, late May.
And when are we gonna finish this project down here?
We're just waiting, that snow pile that's in the middle there has a monitoring well somewhere in it.
Mhm.
We want the snow to melt so that we don't rip up that well as we're digging there. They've got a few stumps that are about 3 or 4 feet tall under that snowbank. So as soon as we can get that stuff out of there, they'll finish. Our goal is to have everything moved down, have the fence all in place by probably mid-May, about the time that the contractor would
So,
be.
so if we're making a deal on the Terrell property,
Yeah,
does it make any sense to step back and move what we've already started to do inside their fenced in area?
it's actually, well, I guess we could look at that. We'd still have to get additional fencing. It's not completely fenced and we would have to build a road. You know, we'd have to complete the road out onto the driveway to the lower area of the treatment plant. Because you can't have people going in and out and dumping the stuff.
Will not be so.
So, and you'd have to build the ramp. So most of what we already are doing, we'd have to replicate inside that fenced area. So quite frankly, I'd rather be out here, be in our regular traffic pattern rather than try to create a new traffic pattern. Because you can't go in and out of that gate that's in that fence line.
What will the extent of the new fencing be?
The new fencing is going to be the entire dirt area that we've cleared down here.
Mhm.
So there's gonna be a section of fence along the trees that we've left. And it's gonna come all the way up to the pavement. And it's gonna encompass all of the stuff that we moved down.
And so it's not going to
And the
include
rate.
the current dumpsters?
It will not
There'll be
include
no
the current,
change
no change.
other than
to
the
the
six
current
AM to
dumpster.
six PM
Correct.
times for,
What about her shack?
We don't need her shack to come down here because she can be inside the garage. If she needs to be in, if it's heavy rain or something like that. But it's only gonna be the summertime. We'll be back up there before the winter. So, and
So-
her shack's getting torn down. up
So she's
there.
gonna have to come out of the garage and walk over.
She'll have to
the other-
come out of the garage, but she'll spend most of her time over there anyway.
Mhm.
And I don't think that's a problem in the summer.
You know, this is a minor complaint, but where she parks her truck up there,
Mhm.
it makes it difficult to swing around and back up to the dumpster.
Okay,
You know, it just,
Mhm.
if she pulled out more, it just restricts your turning radius.
okay,
She parks right in front of the building.
okay. We can
It's not a big deal, but
talk to her about it.
it's a big truck she has. It's a big truck. Big white
All
truck,
right.
right?
So that's the transfer station project update right
Okay.
now. Oh, they have marked trees, or they will mark trees tomorrow morning. Have they finished that? Did you notice? So I think tomorrow morning, surveyors will be up there. They'll mark the trees for the entrance and the trees that need to be cleared for the new paved area. And our guys will be going up there probably next week and clearing that.
So should be able to get a bid and move very quickly then. A lot of
And
the prep work will be.
actually, the sludge
Mhm.
removal is gonna be done before the contractor gets in there. For the actual transfer station. We're gonna remove the sludge that we pumped onto the drying bed last fall. So,
We still
I
need
just need
a
that,
good weather
Huh?
season.
I just need that closure.
yeah, sorry.
I was saying, we just need a good weather season to get done in time.
Yeah.
To get the pavement down,
Yes,
it's still.
Yep. we're still on track.
All right, anything else on the
Nope.
transfer station project? Any questions? Okay, now that we can move on from sewage and trash or household waste, we can move towards town ordinance changes.
Gee. Talk to us, Johnny.
Now Dave updated it. I saw Wendy's changes. I agree. Just put it as select board. It's.
Well, and the AM to PM, not PM to AM.
Yeah, I think it was a little confusing to people with what.
I think about, I reviewed, like Dave did it and I looked at it, and the only other thing I was thinking is. I love how we put that first part in of that it's not, you can't do construction. 'cause
Right,
that
that's
is a major
important.
confusion.
Yes,
But maybe we go a little bit further after talking with Mark today, of just Saturday, it's 9 to 7, it's 9 to, the exact times that we can do it. I don't know if we need to do that or not, but, other than that,
It wouldn't hurt, I mean, just to be,
very transparent on what the times are.
Do you, I think listing out the times and the days would be helpful.
yeah, no, I think that's a very good idea.
And I just want to comment on the PM and AM. Notice that it says
It's-
restricting.
Right,
the dumping.
it's
So it-
reversed,
it-
but,
It is correct,
Yeah.
the
it is.
way
Yes.
that Dave put it, because
I
it
see.
is.
but that's not how
restricted.
people are gonna,
Yeah, I know. So you can only dump between 6 AM and 6 PM. So dumping is restricted
No, it was-
between 6
No, the
PM.
noise.
And
It was the noise.
the noise.
Oh,
Does that, right, it does say that times of day don't get Monday, Friday between 10 PM and 8 AM.
oh, got it.
It's the
got it, got
quiet.
it, Got it.
It's the
Yes,
quiet time,
Yeah.
time. So,
right?
so instead put it when you can do,
I think that. would
rather
be
than when you
more
can't.
clear.
Okay.
Right.
Maybe, and like after your email, maybe we just list the exact time.
Well, I think the time,
Yeah.
Monday
you
through
you
Friday,
may not
this
need that.
time, Saturday,
You won't
Sunday,
need,
this
it'll
time.
replace that, I think.
Yeah,
Leave it at that, so that way there's no question.
Yeah.
Okay,
The times of the day don't change. Here are the,
Yeah.
here are the
okay.
times
Yeah.
and the
Cool.
days.
Yeah, I agree with Wendy, I
Right.
think she makes a good point.
Yeah.
about
So we
that.
can leave,
It's just easy.
we can leave ordinance 20 the way it is, right? That it is restricted between
Right.
6 PM and 6 AM.
Yeah.
Okay,
that was good.
Yeah, and we're gonna,
it's better to say not allowed instead of restricted. Restricted sounds like it's,
If you get the
know.
right,
not allowed.
it can-
yeah, I was wondering about the word, using the word restricted as well.
Or changes.
Prohibiting
Say it
dumping of
altogether.
trash. How about
Prohibit sounds
prohibiting-
stronger.
That's good.
Yeah,
Prohibiting. the
stronger
dumping.
than restricted, yeah,
Okay.
it's good.
Let's-
And our next meeting will be looking at the draft ordinance again, 8. Is that the plan, or with the changes that we voted on or last meeting, or are we good with
It's
that?
it's listed right
I
there.
think it's listed right there.
You want to just leave, just put it in the,
As
think
the
that's
warrant
what we're doing.
article.
as,
For the.
well, no, I was thinking first, just what we agreed to at this point in time for the holidays and the
Oh.
time.
That's listed
I
right
think
there.
It's listed here, but we don't have to discuss it further. That you already have what you need for the,
Yeah, so.
the noise
What
ordinance.
you guys did last time.
Right, you already have that,
I
okay,
think this is just more to get it out to the public.
Right.
Yeah, this is
what
like
your
a press
expectations are.
release.
Yes,
Information
these are their expectations.
release.
okay, right, no, that makes sense. So the question we still have on the noise ordinance is whether we still want to pursue a special select meeting to revisit,
Town meeting.
excuse me, town meeting.
You
to
know-
Revisit,
After thinking about it. I'm more inclined to, I haven't heard a lot of. Talk about it.
yeah, no, I haven't heard anything since we discussed it last.
I mean,
I've heard some.
You've heard some?
I think we could wait. A month or two and see what the reaction is, and then. The rest is jumping into a special town meeting right off. I don't know.
I haven't heard any, nobody's directly said anything to me. We haven't got any complaints yet. So.
What types of comments are you hearing?
Just concerns about Sundays and,
Sunday seems to be the
yeah.
major
The
issue.
the holidays is sort of whatever. I feel like if we don't address it, it will become a big problem as the summer holidays roll around.
It's better to address it before
So-
summer comes.
Get it over with. And if everyone says keep it to
Mhm.
Sundays, then at least, you know,
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
it's.
No, I agree with that. The other path would be to revisit our decision to make Sundays the same as Saturdays with regard to when put this correctly, but when noise is allowed as opposed to when it's
So
unreasonable.
what would you do?
Well, we could shorten the
Make it
hours.
Like 1 hour,
Yeah, well,
you know, it's okay between noon and 1.
I think there are people in town who would be okay with that.
Well,
No, but I mean, that's not the path. If we don't want to go through the trouble of a meeting, it's restricted, not to 1 hour, but some shortened period, like maybe not start till 11 o'clock.
well,
on
but
a
I think
Sunday.
I think there was there was a sense of the meeting, there
Right.
was an intent behind the vote that was taken.
Yes,
and
Yes,
Patrick and
and
I
we're struggling
talked
with that,
about that, and I know you're struggling with it, but
right,
I think there was. Whether they understood exactly what was happening or not, I think it was a vote that it be the same as Saturday.
Well, and
it was implied,
It wasn't.
it was implied, I took
And
it that
so,
way, right,
but I think you put it out there as the same as Saturday.
which we've done,
Which you've done.
right,
And then if they want to change it, then we'll have the special town meeting to change that.
Right, because the people I've heard from were not able to make it to town meeting for
Right.
some reason or other. One or two had just left early because they.
but then we should still
Tonight.
pursue the special time, because to me, the question has been, were people confusing or conflating, maybe the better word? Construction, work and construction activity versus unreasonable noise.
I think we just thinking at all you get, what if we just put this press release out and see what the town people say after that, when they can read it and say. Okay, it's not, because I think they made a very good point that it's not restricting you doing it, it's restricting it being excessive. So you can work on Sundays, but it just can't be excessive, even construction. And so as long as nobody's complaining, it's not illegal to do it. So maybe we put this press release out that Dave did, and then get the gauge of, or the pulse of the town after that goes out.
Well,
And
I mean, before, I hear what you're saying, I think it's something similar to what you're saying,
That's
Bob.
what I said, but Wendy could be right,
Right, I mean,
address it before the summer.
we certainly could have a public hearing before we decide to go forward with
That would be
a,
part of it
anyway, oh, yeah.
How about if we do that? How about if we
Yeah.
have a public hearing at
Yeah.
one of our.
Here's what we've got.
Upcoming meeting
Right,
Right,
and find out at the public hearing whether there's
Yeah.
people that really want us to do a special town.
and make sure we advertise it and people
Well,
can
and we could even.
Yep.
Get this press release out
first, right?
and then do the first meeting of May.
Yep,
And we could even put it at the end of this. The
Yeah, yeah.
select board the select board is planning to hold a public hearing at such and such a time on this
Yep.
day. And do your first meeting of May,
Mhm.
and
see, and then
And
people don't
hold
have to
it.
be here, they could
people can give us
send in
comments.
emails, they
Yeah.
could give us comments personally.
You okay with that, Wendy?
Yeah, if we did it at that timeline, then how long out after that? Is it the 14 days?
I think
for
it's,
that?
I think it would
Is
be
it
about,
John?
yeah, I think we can have it.
Within a couple
14
weeks.
Within a few weeks.
So if there's this overwhelming response.
Right.
that, No, they want to revisit,
Right.
then we'd have 2 weeks.
And I think if you target 4th of July and, have a definitive, if we're gonna have a special town meeting, get it all wrapped up before.
Before the 4th of July,
Well before,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
In June, yeah. I think that that's doable.
I'm okay
Well, I
with
think
that.
that makes
yeah, no, I think that's a good path forward.
Yeah.
All right, so you're gonna
You
craft
wanna
the
look at your
language,
Phone, and what is the first meeting date in May?
Fifth is a Friday.
the first meeting day in May
The
would
10th.
be the 10th.
All right, so 5/10.
5/10, right? And then I think. As long as we get it out there through this, you come up with
Yeah.
the language for
Yeah.
that. And then we can put it in other places, make sure people understand we want their comments by then.
Yeah.
Because it is something of a big deal.
Mhm.
At a special meeting, can it be used for other, not that we would want it, but could someone raise other issues at a special meeting, or it's only gonna
As
be
long
limited?
as they're non-monetary. and
Anybody
as long
could
as we
raise-
know- As long as it's
Right.
posted, 'cause
Right.
we're gonna post a warrant,
Right,
so. Yes, you can put more than one
right.
warrant article.
But from the floor, if anybody wanted
No.
to, no, it would just be a non-binding
be-
sense of the. at
That would
best,
be a non-binding
Sense of the meeting. It has to be posted.
It has to be posted.
And it has to be, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We good with the press release?
Yeah.
All right, I see we have an other on here. Is there any
Just
other?
in case, well, yeah, I got, so we have the water and sewer bills, the warrant for
Yes, the sign.
first quarter, 2023. It has the new
I was
rates
gonna
in
say
it,
this, right?
15% rate. Well,
No,
they're gonna see it.
we're not gonna sneak this by anybody, right?
No, you're not gonna sneak it by.
Well, we did vote on it in a public meeting, so I'm just
Yes.
kidding everybody out there. This was discussed and voted upon.
It was.
I think over a couple, at least one meeting, maybe more than
I
one.
think there were a couple.
Yeah,
It was a public hearing.
Yeah, there was.
yeah, no, I know.
Well, people pay one or way or the other. It's either
That's
in the
correct. It's
taxes
either
or
in
it's.
tax-
Well, that's been the point of the whole thing, right? And as you showed, it really doesn't make a difference
Does not make a
for the
difference.
vast majority of taxpayers. All right, any other,
Then we have the inserts, so we've got the community power insert that'll go with the
Great.
water sewer bill, and on the back side of it, we're gonna have something, probably, have we decided yet what we're gonna put on it?
was there something else?
There was a bunch of things. I mean, I did create a QR code, for the subscribe to the website to get, they can go right up there and sign up for whatever notifications they want. The 15% increase to the water sewer bills, what was the dump, to reiterate the, time.
6 a.m., 6 p.
And the 6,
Right,
operation times.
yeah,
Um,
those could be quick one sentence.
be the same reminder of
Yes, why don't you do the press
the
release?
ducks, in Bears.
Well, we
Row.
can't,
Here's the back.
it's too hard. I mean, we got 1,400, 1,500 of these to do, so.
And the Bears are definitely back.
Yeah, we have
According
clips,
to that one Facebook,
we have clips that are,
They're here.
they should be all done by tomorrow.
okay, yeah, that was a very interesting
General
Facebook.
spring reminder.
Okay, but
Right.
we are gonna go with 1/3. That's the easiest thing to stuff.
I
Right.
can change that little piece to make that almost like a 2/3 size, of that 1/3 piece.
Yeah.
To have something else
Yeah.
on the front side, to have
Okay,
more
good.
space on the back too.
All right.
instead of the,
So
you know,
you two can work this out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Shops at Dreams and Vision.
Shop.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, no, if she wants to be a sponsor.
Yeah, that's right, sponsored by,
we
right.
can have sponsorship.
This rate
This-
increase brought to you
This
by,
increase
brought to you by,
Brought to you by Dream.
Yeah.
yeah, you may want to rethink.
People love that.
Yeah,
All right, we've lost.
all right, yeah, so when do you think this will be going out soon?
Next week, right?
Next week?
Early next week.
All right, so everyone get their bills. Very good.
All right, we're leaving it up to the admin services manager to do the
Old stuff.
insert. Old and stuff.
In our 21st century paperless society.
Right, exactly.
All right, anything else, another?
No,
Are we good? Anything
I
else for the
think-
regular meeting?
I
No,
think we're,
Can I go back to sewer related topic?
if you like.
Last year, as we all know, we had some challenges with our porta potty vendor.
oh,
Yes. Oh, actually, we should talk. I mean, there was yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah,
So a few options here, I think. I let you know that I communicated with Grand Lutz
yes,
about them providing us with some porta potties this year.
right.
Just got word from them that they have the standard porta potties, but their ADA units won't be in until midsummer. So as of last year, I believe we had 4 in total, 1 standard, 1 ADA at both locations next to the tennis center. And then the other was at Packard's Field.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking option 1, which isn't super desirable, would be to use Grandolette's standards, 1 at each location, and use United for their ADA units, 1 at each location. Option 2 would be maybe we just put 1 standard at each location to start and see if that satisfies the need over the course of the first month or 2. Or option 3 would be to put 2 standard units at
Until we-
each location.
Do
Right.
we not like United?
United.
Terrible.
I'm really hard time keeping up with their meetings.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do half United and half somebody else. I think I just say get the 2 standard ones from the new vendor,
Right.
1 at each
Or
location.
can we get 2 in each, and then they can just change out would they do that, or is it gotta be the same one that they service all year?
I recommend just one at each location to start, only because Brooke had mentioned to me, she's never seen the traffic at those locations to necessitate two of the same kind. She's never seen a line, for example. That's why I wanted to throw it on the table to see if any of you have ever seen kind of a backup at those locations.
Well, did they give you like bill rates as they swapped it? Like, do they have, they must have tracked how much they were taking out when they serviced.
We
them,
didn't get
right?
good service from
We didn't
United
get
at all.
service.
They were.
We do
Yeah,
not
we
have-
haven't- This is.
No,
brand new
this is the
company for
brand
us.
This is a brand new
Gotcha,
company. They weren't
gotcha.
servicing it per the contract and they
Oh, I
were,
see. Okay,
they were a real mess, quote unquote.
okay.
So, yeah, I guess I mean, I'm not there when the tennis is going on. That would seem to me the one crowded time, right?
Yeah.
At least by the, have
Well,
we, have
from
they,
what we've been told,
maybe
they're
we should,
not used by the tennis center a whole lot anyway.
Just
okay,
the Hikers.
right,
and
Hikers.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
And I know that the resort is trying to work something out with BBTS to find a way
Yeah,
to.
with Tory Lee,
build
maybe
something.
there's an opportunity
There
to.
may
Yeah.
be.
yeah, I mean, we could plan to go ahead with one in each, but if we want to have a discussion with Tom and Tim on the issue and well, whoever is replacing Tori like we did last year. We could do
well,
that too. See if there's
think
any other
we-
plans
I
afoot.
think we should get Randlet's.
Yeah, go ahead with,
On
go ahead with the
board.
one and one
And we'll let them know what we're doing.
we're doing, and if
And.
they'd like,
we'll-
we can,
We can
if
have.
they have
a
other
meeting if they want.
plans.
Yep.
It may not necessitate having a full summer contract even, perhaps, probably not.
I don't think you can get something designed and built
If
in
that's,
the
what the-
current
if
climate,
that's what they're going
if
with.
that's where they're going with
Yeah,
it. It's not going in this spring to be used this summer.
okay. Right, there's been nothing in front
They
of the
gotta
planning
go,
board.
they gotta go to the planning.
Yeah, there's
board,
been
so-
nothing in front of the planning board.
Okay, so one in each.
So one in
One in
each.
each.
One in each,
And they'll be cleaned twice a week.
Oh, good.
yeah, with one, I would say that's
Yeah.
preferable for sure.
That what United was supposed to do this twice a week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know if we even got twice a month with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. that
All right.
was an issue.
good.
All right,
Thank you very
so
much.
I'll ask again,
Anything else?
is there any
No.
other others? Are we done with the others?
We are done with the others.
All right, so I guess we can
Go to
move
non-public.
to our non-public session. Do I have a motion to go non-public?
So move.
And I see a second,
A second.
all in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Thank you. Sharon, just let us know when
For the